My great-grandfather on my mother's side, Andrew, was a carpenter, and he loved to carve beautiful wooden sculptures. My grandmother, Inga, was also very talented at all kinds of arts, particularly knitting and crocheting. My uncle Harry creates excellent watercolor paintings, including this artwork he gave me as a wedding present. And it seems I inherited a bit of this creativity. This is a newspaper that I wrote and illustrated when I was about 9 or 10 years old. However, I didn't really properly develop my artistic capabilities because I was distracted by hockey mainly.
But since my kids were born, I've begun freehanding cartoon characters that they like. And my daughter requests drawings a lot. So I've gotten to the point where the characters are pretty well done and I can draw them large enough for my daughter to color them in. However, when her felt marker hits the paper, things can go a little sideways. Now, don't get me wrong. This is a beautiful photo in its own right. I will treasure this picture forever.
The point I'm making is, even if I have the proper framework in place, doesn't mean the picture is going to turn out exactly the way I intended. I think you know where I'm going with this.
Chiarelli has put the framework in place for the Oilers in this upcoming season. He's got a coach with the 21st highest points percentage in NHL history. He has the undisputed strongest center depth in the league. He has a very good goaltender in Cam Talbot and a young, developing defense in front of him.
But many things could go wrong. Injuries, for one.
After years of missing top 6 forwards for significant time each and every season, the Oilers' top 6 scoring forwards missed a combined 1 game last year. This year, we already know that Sekera will be out for a few weeks, perhaps even months. Regression. A number of players had career years last year, including McDavid, Draisaitl, Maroon, Letestu, Klefbom, and Talbot. Other than McDavid and Draisaitl, I don't see any of these guys exceeding their statistics from last year. And I personally feel both Maroon and Letestu will drop off in goals. And I don't think Talbot will hit a career high in wins again. And lastly, bad breaks. Last year really didn't feature many of these during the regular season.
But that sure changed in the playoffs. Now, having said all that, here is why I think a lot of that stuff is going to balance out over the course of the season.
First of all, the Oilers play in the weakest division in the league. The Coyotes will be inserting a lot of youth into the lineup. The Sedins will captain the Titanic to the bottom of the Pacific, and Las Vegas is an expansion team. All three should be in contention for a top lottery pick. The Oilers have the benefit of playing these teams a combined 12 times. Meanwhile, the Central is a gauntlet of 6 strong clubs beating up on one another. And the Avalanche. The Canucks, Coyotes, and Knights will be gravy points for teams like the Oilers, Ducks, and Flames. While I'm on the subject of the schedule, once again this year, the Oilers don't even leave Canada until October 19th when they visit the Blackhawks. This bodes well for another solid start, which was the springboard to their success last year. Secondly, and this is contrary to the extremely popular belief perpetuated by loud Eastern media types, the Oilers are more than just McDavid, or just McDavid and Draisaitl, or just McDavid, Draisaitl, and Talbot. Sure, they're a top-heavy team. There's no doubt about that. I mean, it's pretty much impossible not to be when you have a player of McDavid's caliber. But it's not just those guys and then a bunch of bums. They are a team. This became rather undeniable last year in Game 6 against the Ducks when the Oilers put up 7 goals without a point from McDavid. and both Klefbom and Sekera out of the lineup. So when I said earlier that some guys are in for down offensive seasons, I believe this will be offset to some degree by stronger offensive seasons from others. Nuge, Larson, and Russell in particular focused almost all of their attention on cleaning up the Oilers' defensive zone coverage last year. Judging by interviews with the coaches and the players themselves, they will be given a bit more offensive freedom this year. And I feel Caggiula, Benning, and Nurse will continue to have growth in their game, which will lead to moderate increases in their scoring totals.
And thirdly, and this is something that I would normally look at as a stumbling block for most teams. You know the story well. A team has a dramatic improvement from one season to the next. And the following season, either due to overconfidence or having overachieved the year before, the team just comes crashing back down to earth.
Proverbs 16 verse 18, pride goes before a fall. The thing is, the Oilers are completely aware of this potential problem. I've heard multiple Oilers state that they won't have the benefit of sneaking up on teams this year. And they aren't just paying lip service. I don't remember a summer where I've seen so many pictures, quotes, and quips about how much hard work the Oilers are putting in over the offseason. This group of players isn't taking anything for granted this year. They have put in a ton of work in the offseason since their loss to the Ducks last year. Now, as far as I'm concerned, I don't really care if the Oilers finish first in the Western Conference or even win the Pacific Division for that matter. I'm fairly confident saying I think they'll be one of the top 3 seeds in the Pacific this year. For me, this year is all about building on their playoff success from last year, and that means going all the way to the Western Conference Final. It's a tall task, but I think they're capable of doing it. Let me know your predictions in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.